Okay, so I'm deciding to do my own little version of our project, and this is the project that you should have, the assignment you should have turned in at some point. I'm using these two references. I'm going to close off my window application frame here so that you can see my camera along with my references. So it's very important when you choose your references that you have a similar eye level and a similar lighting. This is pretty ambient lighting, mostly I think because they are in trees. So that gives me a good, and they're pretty good resolution. I mean, this is a pretty high res image. It's got pretty good definition. Not super brilliant, but pretty good. And this one has really good definition. I'm pleased as punch with this one. This one is a really nice, lots of detail. Okay, but I still draw it like I would draw any figure I saw sitting anywhere. So that's my little drawing of it. I wanted to share that. So if you haven't turned in your concept sketch yet, you need to be doing so ASAP before you move on to the next part of the project for a little while, just for a little while. It's just I get so nervous in the recording. So super skinny. This is going to be great because you can see every bone in his back. It's just amazing. I can't get over it. It's really amazing. You guys can see my screen okay, right? I'm trying to make the image a little bigger, but it doesn't want to go bigger for me. Okay.
I wonder
if I do this. That's a little bigger. Okay, so these look like we're doing all 1 minute poses for this. Okay. So first, these are gestures, of course, with the 1 minute gesture poses. So you basically want to look for the line of action, find where the main points of the body are going. You want to get the whole figure on your page within the first like 30 seconds, so that you or make sure that you have him all in place. So we've done that. We have a little bit of time, so I'm going to find some bony landmarks. Like we've got this iliac crest right here. I'm going to put in some brief forms for thighs, feet. My goal is to get the entire figure on the page before the minute is up, in proportion and in relative 3D space. Aha. Sorry for the shadows. I have the light on the wrong side. Okay. He's just emaciated. Actually, you know what? This fellow probably is ectomorphic body structure, which means they have very little body fat naturally, and the muscles tend to be more stringy, I would say, but it's not really a very nice description, but they're very lean and their bones are very prominent. So there's 3 basic human body types: the ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. You guys probably have heard of those before, and people talk about them a lot. The mesomorphs are the body type that tends to bulk up muscle fairly quickly, and the ectomorphs are like this fellow who tends to be very lean, and no matter what they eat, they can never gain weight. And then the endomorphs are the ones that tend to carry the extra body weight very quickly. They are the ones that will survive the apocalyptic holocaust, nuclear winter, and all that, because they'll have plenty of fat stores. Everybody else will die out. So in certain cultures, certain subgroups of humans tend to be towards one or the other. I'm thinking in particular of the Samoans. they're very, very efficient at storing calories because they would take these long sea journeys on rafts and be out for, months without any real food or anything and survive long enough to get to the next island. So their body type is predominant. So we've got here, I just have to point some stuff out, even though I'm not drawing it. You guys should be drawing it. This muscle is a very important muscle that most people don't even know is there. It's called the teres major. So when the arm attaches to the body, let me do a close-up of that, actually. Let me pause this and do a close-up of that, because this is really cool. All right. So the shoulder, just the shoulder area. I'm sorry, is the fan bothering you guys? Can you even hear it? Hopefully not. Okay.
It's a little tweak.
A little tweak. Okay. So here we have seven cervical vertebrae are coming down the back of his neck here. So there's your bony landmarks for there. Here is the acromion process, which is the edge of the scapula. Follow that down and around. You can see here, down to here is the edge of the scapula. And at the bottom of the scapula is the teres major, which comes and underneath, it goes to the humerus, basically, but it goes underneath the triceps. So I'm trying to make some kind of a reasonable facsimile of what this figure is without too much stupidity here. Here's this other, you can see the spine of the scapula right here. Probably the most efficient thing to do would be to capture I'll capture an image of this one and put it into Photoshop and show you where everything is. So I shall do that. He's going to have a line through his feet, but that's okay. So we'll have him in there, because that's just really amazing stuff. We going now? Go. Okay. So I'll just draw him as normal. Tall, thin. He's still going to, if you put your head there and put the foot there, notice the balance of the figure. He's going to be balanced. His shoulders, hips are about midway. His legs are crossed. We're not going to have time to do the whole guy. It's okay. Just amazing. Amazing anatomical details here. So this is the advantage of drawing men. Drawing women is fun because they're curvy mostly, and curves are so much easier to draw than angles and bones. But just the sheer accuracy of the anatomy that you can get from a very lean man is, and the anatomy is the same for everybody. Everybody's got the same basic stuff. There are very few variations on the actual bones and muscles that people have. And so once you learn it, you can apply it to anyone. And then you can start, which is what everyone's goal is to be able to conceptualize, oh, this is a 2-minute pose. How cool is that? You can conceptualize the figure once you understand the anatomy, and then you can go on from there and actually create new body types once you understand how the anatomy works. So this is the trapezius right here. That's bunching up as he's pulling this arm back. And then on this side, he's stretching his shoulder blade. Can you see his shoulder blades going like this as it stretches forward and goes behind his leg? where his shoulder goes behind his leg. And this is the trapezius on the other side. So on one side, you're seeing it all bunched up. And on the other side, you're seeing it stretched out. You can actually see his ribs, which is very uncommon. Okay, another 2 minute. Okay, so we want to lay in the figure. Even if I had a 20-minute on the pose, I would try to get the whole figure in. And actually, it would be better if I did it this way. I know it's above the camera, but to deal with it. So he's so thin that it almost looks wrong, his anatomy, because of the way that some of these bones are popping out and some of the muscles are tensing. But we're going to go with it. Now, here's where using a photograph gets really, really a problem, because unless you think in 3D space, which is really what you've got to do, you've got to think in 3D space, you're not going to be able to realize that this hand is coming forward of this arm, which is parallel to your sight, and that means that this forearm is a cylinder. So we've got to keep in mind the 3D aspect of the photograph. Keep in mind what we understand and already know about the anatomy of the human figure. And since we all have bodies, we actually know a lot more than we realize. You want to be able to get that sense of 3D quality into your drawing. So her hand is back. And I would even make this exaggerated further. This is what's bothering me, is this hip is just so pronounced. We've got the hip flexor coming in. This is actually the glutes. Now let's change pose. Okay, never mind. Talk about that later. All right. This would be, I mean, I would love to hire this model for my studio just for anatomical studies. It's just can you tell I'm excited? I can't help it. I love this stuff. I love it when the anatomy is just so amazing. It just really gets me wound up here. Elbows. Here's his bum. Here's his foot. Here's his leg. We've got the bony landmark elbow here down to his hand. Notice how the parts of the body tend to taper as they move away from the center. So, and they always come in close around the joints. It's another key thing that I often see beginning artists miss out on. So to accentuate the 3D nature of it, I'm going to just block in some three-dimensional shapes. Now here's his rib cage. He's almost completely straight on back to us. His hips are tilted down a little bit, so we can do a hip piece like this. This is curving up and away from us here. This is one leg is moving slightly away from us, so you could do that as kind of a cylinder shape. And then this other leg, look how it tapers. Look how that Achilles tendon sticks out. And the ankle, the end, this is the end of the tibia on the inside and the fibula on the outside. Oh, it's just awesome. So cool. All right. Sorry. I know I'm recording this and I'm making a fool of myself, but I can't help it. It's just so cool. All right. It was like another thing.
He is very lean.
He's very lean. And another cool thing about being able to draw someone that is so ectomorphic like this, notice the color. We never deal with color because we're not painting, we're only drawing. But notice how where the figure comes to the surface, where the bones come to the surface, we get this tinge of red because the skin gets stretched over these surfaces. That's just really, really something that needs to be noted, because if you can put that kind of stuff in when you're doing your digital painting or modeling, you're texturing your figure that you've modeled, you'll bring in another level of realism, and that's of course what everybody wants, is that level of realism. So observing these things that most people don't even notice, but if they're not there, you would know that there was something missing. You just wouldn't be able to know what it is unless you had studied it. So his hand here, his foot here. He's pretty tilted over. I've got this too long right here, but I'm just going to go with it for now. I think shoulders, his arm moving away from us. His hand is actually much smaller. Then this hand is going to be much bigger, and you want to accentuate that because the camera is going to flatten it, and we want to make sure that we got it very clear. Okay, I gotta stop talking and start drawing.
He's actually pretty muscular for as thin as he is.
Oh, he's very muscular. He's just very lean. There's no body fat cover up all the muscles. Look, there's the color again on his feet, on his knuckles, on his knees. It's just crazy. The rest of him looks a little green, but that could just be my monitor.
Oh, I'm getting that too. It's kind of a pale lighting.
Yeah. When some people have greenish skin, olive skin.
Blue.
He's a good model.
He's a great model. Yeah, I wonder if he is as good live, because he would need to hold these poses and not just, a photograph is really quick, obviously. Look, you can see the bone here. So you see how the bone kind of curves. Bones are hardly ever straight, and the muscles will wrap and create bulges. Narrows down to the bones at the ankle where we have the epicondyle, the malleus. Malleus is malleus, his foot, and you can see all the bones in his foot sticking out there too. So this foot's actually quite bigger. This foot is quite a bit smaller. You see how his toes are arched. This is really important. Get this into your head if you have problems with drawing hands and feet. The thing about the foot is there's thickness to it. It's not like this, right? It's like this. Well, not sort of like that. But anyway, I think you understand. I hope you understand. I'm also trying to get, I always constantly looking for triangulations. I noticed that his knee was on the same, his horizontal level as his knee was on, as his ankle. There's that iliotibial band again. And you can totally see his scapula and almost all of his vertebrae, which is very unusual. But they're there, and everybody has them. Some of us just hide it better than others. So this is good because you can think about the structure because you see the bones so clearly. So you can definitely be concentrating when you have the opportunity on all the structural aspects of the human that you can see. And that way, when you can't see it so well, when a person maybe has a little more meat on them, or you're working with poor quality reference, or you're conceptualizing it from your own mind, you'll know all this stuff. Or if they have clothes on, right. Because even if they've got clothes on, it's still got that structure underneath, which is the whole reason why we draw naked people, is so that we understand the structure underneath. You can't build a house unless you frame it out, right? It's got to have 2x4s and placed 16 inches apart or whatever the heck it is. and all the right supporting walls and everything. And if you just build it like you saw it, it might fall over. Oh, that back leg is an epic fail right there. Epic fail. Oh my goodness. Pay no attention to the back leg. It's really bad.
It's a good thing you can't see my drawings. Oh, you will.
Mine are like scribbles.
It's okay.
I'm getting the outline.
No outline. I'm sorry, I should have shouted. Do not do outlines. I want to see you do
That's not really.
structure, pieces. Remember that humans.
No, you'll get in trouble if you do outlines.
You will get in trouble if you do outlines. I want to see if you can't do the the shape bits, or even if it's a scribble fill like you're doing, like I'm mostly doing this scribble fill. I don't want to see this outline. No way. No way. No way. No way. I want to see, if anything, if you can't do a scribble, then do a block. Okay, so that you're getting the figure in the 3D sensibility. I'm going to put the pot of noodles on to boil right now. I mean, because that is a serious transgression.
Y'all don't want no hot noodles thrown at y'all now.
No, I'll wait till they're nice.
Come on, guys. It's his first time. Give him a break.
All right, all right.
So Tony, you're going to pass for now, but next time, remember.
Okay, I've got extra
That's all right.
time.
I'm used to getting picked on.
I'm not picking on you. This is building character. This is like in the army, right? All right, so I've got a little extra time. I've got a couple of minutes. I'm going to.
Little bit different concept.
I'm going to use this time to play with the shadows and the shapes, because I drew a little hard for a longer pose. I didn't realize I wasn't paying attention to how much time I actually had, which is not great, but sometimes you just don't know. If you're drawing people on the street, if you're doing guerrilla art, you don't know how long that person is going to stand there. So you want to catch all the little nuances that you can right away. There's a shoulder. There's a back. I love the way that trapezius comes up the back and makes this triangular shape as it hooks to the back of his head. It's another good thing about drawing the bald guys. You can really see how everything attaches. I can't see his chin, which is bugging me because it's giving him a really funny shaped head. His ears are right here. And there's his shoulder there. If I had a marker, that's what I should have done. I should have got out my markers. We'll do that next, because these are longer poses. So I can go over the specific details once I get it laid out. Okay, I'm going to prepare for the next one. Good. Now it's really dark, but remember we have chiaroscuro coming up. And you know how much I love chiaroscuro. And this would be a perfect chiaroscuro drawing. I'm really starting to dig this site. I think this is my new love life here, is this. Yeah. I still like Croquis Cafe because they're real models in real time, which is really cool. But the lighting is good. Hey, look, he's on a neutral gray background, which is perfect. He's not popping out of a white background. And he's got real strong shadows. Okay, here's his hand right here. Here's his arm right here. See, elbow, so triangulate. Shoulder, elbow, hand. Head comes out nearly as far as his hand here. And then we get the arm and his other hand here. Now, carrying on, his hips go down, and they are pretty well lined up here. We're seeing him at a very low eye level. So that's there's a little negative space that we can pop in there, just for good measure. Okay, so see, Tony, the figure has volume. Make it into geometric shapes. so that you can see how things move in space. Now his whole hips, his chest is turned this way. We can actually see. I'm really getting too crazy. I'm going to start this one over because I didn't get the rest of his figure. It's talking too much. It's hard to talk and draw at the same time. If I wasn't recording this for class, the students that wanted me to record it, I wouldn't, because these drawings are not that. These drawings are kind of crap. But I'm so excited about the anatomy that it's hard for me to curb my enthusiasm. All right, so notice his chest is turned.
No drooling, please.
It's not that. It's just that you can see the bones, and I just love bones. I just think they're just so cool.
I would stop right there before it sounds creepy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's serious stuff. It's serious stuff. Not anatomy, but perspective. It's serious, tough perspective.
I can't hear you very well, Guthrie.
You're not used. It's serious, tough perspective.
Oh yeah. This is definitely hardcore perspective. Notice his leg is coming towards us, and actually, the front of his knee is about here, and it tucks very strongly there. And this knee is actually coming towards us as well. I don't want to make him look like an amputee, but it's important that you see where those are. All right, I'm gonna try the marker routine here and see. I think I'm gonna try the marker routine here. Should really
Martha Stewart?
Marker, not Martha.
Oh, marker routine. Okay.
Here it is. I got it. I got my marker. Okay. So head here. There's his chin's right about here. Remember, heads are round in the back. Look how far. Look, pointing at the screen, but he can't see anything. All right. There's a bone there. Here's his elbows. Great. Here is his other elbow right here. Here's his fist here. Hand is splayed out. Note the dimension that shows in that hand. His rib cage is turned. So this gets really tricky here because we see the side of his body. His ribs are going like this, and this here is the bottom of his rib cage, this intercostal cartilage that's popping up here. And his abs are quite squinched down, but you can still see. And then this strong mark that's coming in here, this would be the latissimus dorsi. This would be that teres major that I was talking about. This is the deltoid that's coming over the top of everything. And darn it, it's changed on me. All right. Moving right along. These are really the kind of poses you should be doing big on an easel, so you can sweep and get those. All right, recording now. Okay. I have a little more time. I've got 10 minutes, so I still am going to work on laying in the figure first. Most important. But I'm going to be a little more cautious and go a little bit more lightly on the figure so that I can put in details later that won't be completely lost. All right, elbows. Now imagine his leg attaches to his hips. His hips are turned like this. If you were to draw a box around his hips, we would see a side of a box and then the back of the box and the underside of the box, and his thighs coming out from underneath. Passes well beyond the line of his arm. This leg is coming towards us, so it's a cylindrical shape coming towards us. And notice that the bottom, the lower leg now overlaps it. Overlaps are so important to developing depth in your drawing. Now, it looks like there's not much going on when you get down to his ankle, so you'll have to keep your powers of anatomy in your head as you work out what kind of a 3D shape is actually going on there. You can't see his other ankle, but it's going to be there because of the shadow. Okay, so shoulder. Here's his other. See this triangulation thing here? I need to move his foot down a little bit, actually, because, and I don't have an eraser, so I'm not going to use an eraser. His elbow is here, his forearm is here, and notice that his back hand is uneven with his, this is the putting the magical grid in front of your own eyeballs. Then the heel of his foot is actually on line with that. So I'm doing all this triangulation stuff, trying to get all the pieces. And if you can get them to line up correctly that way, then you've got, and you can get the negative shapes, because here's a great negative shape right here, right there. Here's another great negative shape right here. You get that one in there. And there's a negative shape between his hand and his foot. So I'm going to need to push that down a little bit. So knee comes out here. This comes more down like that. That's some serious foreshortening going on here. And we have to make him look like he's not a headless man. So I just put a little more of his head on the other side of his shoulders than is actually showing, because that's an artistic decision that I made on purpose, not because I couldn't. It's the difference between breaking the rules and knowing the rules. I know I really can only see a tiny bit of his head, but in life I might be able to see more past that, and I think it adds to the drawing rather than detracts from it. So that's my excuse. Okay, so this has been a 4B. I'm switching over to an 8B, which will be a lot softer. You'll find that I pretty much only use 4Bs and 8Bs for quick sketching. So now I can kind of block in a little bit of some of the more dramatic shadows. Since everything's blocked in, I can go into the detail without worrying about getting lost. Here's his teres major. Here comes his deltoid. This is the triceps on the back of the arm, and the triceps is a three-headed muscle. It's got a flat ligament that attaches it to the elbow, which is a bony landmark. So you've got this elbow, and we've got it shadowed down there. See the silhouette of the shadows there. A little bit of the thumb. Knees are really square. They're interesting biomechanical constructs. I want to remember that I moved his foot a little bit. So it's down there. Okay. Here is the greater trochanter underneath the iliotibial band, which is this distinguished mark that comes there. This here is the pelvis, this pelvic bone right here. Spinous erectus going down the back here. See the other glute in the shadows back there. So I'm going to give that some shadowing. You really can't see it all that much. And in fact, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to the background so that he has some kind of a sense of space. This front leg is too long. I've made this leg angled too much. So I'm just going to have to keep working with it here. All right. You'll find when you work from a live model. All right, somebody's not using headphones. That you'll often have to make little adjustments as you'll have to make little adjustments as the model might shift slightly, and something that you could see before you can't really see anymore. So we can see his ribs, just a touch of his ribs underneath. This is his trapezius that's bunching up. So the flesh pushes other flesh away from itself. Here's this latissimus dorsi, which comes across here, and then it flattens into a flat ligament. So you'll get a pretty good bit of flesh here, and then the teres major. But because he's so lean, you're actually seeing the ribs under and it's stretched so tight because he's turning and twisting away from us. That causes the ribs to show through. Normally they would not show through. This is the obliques, which come down the side and attach to the front of the iliac crest, which is the pelvic bone, which then tapers down to the sacrum back there. And then we've established the iliotibial band around the great trochanter. The muscles kind of radiate away from around here. This would be the vastus lateralis, which is one of the quads, the 4 quad muscles that you see on the outside. And on the back here, we're seeing the hamstrings, or the biceps femoris, and the other one, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. There's 2 of them back there. Oh, let's put the flesh of his gastrocnemius is being pushed up against his thigh here. So we've got that little bit of a bulge and an overlap. It's just a little bit of his abs right here. Yeah, I'm having a good time, guys. This is a lot of fun. All right.
Looking good.
Interestingly, when I'm doing this, I can't see it. I can't judge it. I can't even see it. And when I look at it on the computer screen, it's almost like somebody else is drawing it. Because the distraction almost. So I always look at my paper when I'm doing these demos and not at the screen except every once in a while, just if something isn't looking right. Now, that is definitely a drawing I would love to do with with chalk.
Not Conte chalk, right?
Not Conte. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired.